Today on the Morning Edition, an arrest has been made in a case that has horrified, shocked, and confused people close to the situation. 25 dogs found dead on a single property, leaving many demanding answers. We'll bring you the latest on this story. Plus, the Anchorage School District, after having two propositions fail on the ballot to help address a $90 million budget deficit, we'll tell you what's on the chopping block as the district grapples with the shortfall.
And looking outside, that sun getting higher and higher in the sky each day, but we're also watching a strong storm building into the state. I'll have those details and those impacts, but first, we'll start the Morning Edition.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. It just feels like we can't get it. We got a little bit of sunshine yesterday, but it's been so gloomy lately for the most part.
Yesterday was the nicest day that we did see this week. Of course, we are going to continue to watch that increasing heavy rainfall that's going to build in across the state here over the next couple of days. We've also watching areas of southwest Alaska where a glaze of ice will be possible as we head throughout the day. Now, while we are starting off this morning with temperatures in the 30s for many areas, it's a cold start to the morning as you head through the interior where temperatures are sitting at 7 degrees. Quieter conditions to start off your Wednesday morning, considering yesterday we did see that snow that did lead to some whiteout conditions for parts of the interior. Now, this morning we are waking up across South Central. We're already beginning to see some of that light activity building in with temperatures holding in the 30s. We could hold on to some localized areas of wintry mix. While today will bring some showery weather, we're really going to be focusing on coastal areas over the next couple of days where that heaviest rainfall will set up shop. But inland locations, you are seeing some of that light drizzle activity as you get out on the roadways to start off this morning. Now, the main impacts of the storm today will be out towards western and southwest Alaska. You can see that push of warmer air already building in, leading to that transition to some wintry mix, if not a glaze of some ice, which will be possible as you head out towards the Kuskokwim Delta coastline, as well as Nunivak, Nunivak Island. Blizzard warnings, though, as you head from the Yukon Delta north towards the Norton Sound. This is where we could see about 1 to 8 inches of snow accumulation. That 8 inches possible out towards the Yukon Delta as you head further north. That's where you're going to see those snowfall totals decreasing as we head throughout the next couple of days. There's that area of low pressure. It's still setting up shop out towards Adak, where those winds continuing to gust anywhere from 20 to about 45 miles per hour will be favoring areas of western Alaska through the day, where we could see some winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. So we will be watching those winds here over the rest of this week for a good portion of the state. We're also going to be watching a very wet weather pattern staying with us across South Central as we head through the close of this week and into the early part of next week. So coming up in my full forecast, we'll be talking about that spring storm. It is quiet for southeast and the interior. Single-digit lows this morning, but 50s by week's end. I'll have all of that for you coming up.
In our top story this morning, an update to the Willow dog death case, where an arrest on animal cruelty charges is now intensifying questions about the response before authorities stepped in. As the borough orders an outside review, people at the Mat-Su Assembly meeting Tuesday evening say this is no longer just about one property, but rather, as Joe Allgood reports, if the system failed animals that some say were in plain sight.
Misty Reeder was arrested on 26 charges of animal cruelty on Tuesday, one for each of the dogs found on a property in Willow, including the lone survivor. I have to warn you, the video footage you're about to see might be disturbing.
We are pleased to see the swift movement by the troopers and the DA to move forward with the arrest.
1 week ago, the Alaska State Troopers and Mat-Su Borough Animal Control arrived at this property to find 25 dead dogs and one survivor, a case unlike others Borough Manager Mike Brown has seen.
This one's unique.
With over 25,000 square miles in the Mat-Su Borough, Brown said that caseload in any law enforcement is always a challenge, including animal control.
It's unique in that this was a larger kennel, right? So we don't have thousands of these in the borough. And so I would submit that it is manageable. But yeah, the geography is always going to be a challenge for us.
In the wake of the incident, the borough is conducting a third-party independent review of animal control.
So let's let the investigation run its course. This won't take forever. But we do need a little bit of time to sort through all that, bring everything together, have a third-party external person review that and be part of the investigation, and I think we'll come to a much better outcome.
At the same time, residents are disappointed that action wasn't taken sooner.
There's something not right here. Multiple complaints from 10 or more individuals were made about these dogs.
Those dogs waited for months on end for the humans who are supposed to care for them, but true help never came.
I mean, I can understand the anger and frustration, but just to be civil and remember that, you know, the cruelty done to these dogs doesn't justify mistreating others.
Reeder was taken to Matsu pretrial without incident, according to DPS. And as for that one dog who survived, borough officials say he is recovering well in the borough shelter and receiving medical care. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Misty Reeder is also embroiled in an eviction suit for that same property. The eviction case is set to be heard in court on May 5th. Our request for comment from Reeder has not been returned. Experts say cold, dry snow remains in place in some areas with weak layers underneath that continue to create avalanche danger. They say future risk will hinge on the pace of the warming in the weeks ahead. For now, backcountry travelers are being urged to review local avalanche forecasts and monitor conditions carefully.
If anyone's getting out into the mountains, as long as there's snow up high, there's a very real avalanche exposure. And this is the time of year when we see those big avalanches start to impact these low elevation trails.
In particular, Andrew mentioned trails out by Byron Glacier near Portage, a few around Girdwood and Seward, and also in the state park. For many students, art and music are more than electives. Last night, those programs were front and center in the Anchorage School District's growing budget crisis. Charlie Fellows was at the board meeting as leaders map out cuts tied to a multi-million-dollar funding deficit.
The cuts keep coming for the Anchorage School District in the wake of 2 failed ballot measures and staring down the barrel of a $90 million deficit. Music and arts programs all around town will soon be feeling those impacts.
Support in the arts will look different, including the reductions and loss of an assistant director.
The Anchorage School Board gathered Tuesday afternoon for a work session, going down the list of upcoming cuts in the fiscal year 2027 budget.
I think it's really important to mention reduced access to the arts and to music and to world language for many of our students. These are subjects that have profound importance to them.
Included in the massive list of cuts to programs and positions, quote, reduced access to elective classes including art, music, world language and immersion, and career technical education. Effects that will especially be felt at the elementary school level.
Standing in front of some of our student artwork here in the Ed Center. This is a great example of what's going to be lost. I was here the other day as folks from our Fine Arts Department were taking down a prior installation and putting these up. And they said these will be the last pieces to go up until our budget situation changes.
Later Tuesday night, members of the public came to the ASD board meeting to make their voices heard.
What are the plans for art and music in schools? Are you purposely ending music programs in middle school and high school by getting rid of introduction to band? This will impact the future of music education. You are sowing chaos among your employees, families, and community.
Reducing the number of schools served by individual specialists supports stronger relationships, clear expectations, and more sustainable workloads. This current plan does the exact opposite.
Now, at the high school level, the extent to which specific programs and positions in music and arts will be cut isn't fully known at the moment because it does partially depend on student interest from school to school. But overall, the picture is a stark one. In music and the arts, just like everywhere else in Anchorage schools, downsizing seems inevitable. Charlie Fellows, Alaska's news source.
The decades-long LNG pipeline is hitting another bump in the road after the Senate Resources Committee overhauled Governor Dunleavy's property tax bill. His administration previously said the gas line would not happen without the bill. Now he says those changes put the bill in jeopardy. The governor's spokesperson told us that the new version of the bill, quote, puts the entire project at risk and that the project financials are in flux because of it. That follows weeks of scrutiny from lawmakers on the governor's property tax bill. That included local mayors largely coming out against the bill. The state's revenue department said the state would lose billions in revenue without the change. There were also concerns over how much information the major developer of the gas line was willing to give out. At the same time, the governor has made the stakes clear: pass the bill or have no gas line. Senator Bill Wielechowski, an Anchorage Democrat, says the new version does not endanger the pipeline.
And so we've been told by Glenfarne well before this session even started that they needed nothing. They needed no tax breaks. They did nothing. They can go ahead and build the they can go ahead and build the gas pipeline right now if they wanted to. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. In fact, that's what they said they were going to do last year. You know, we're just trying to figure out what the right numbers are, and of course we want to make sure the project goes forward.
This all comes after the president invoked emergency powers earlier this week to bolster the country's LNG capacity. For more, visit our website or mobile app. Downtown Fairbanks is trying to spark more business activity with a new rental incentive program. The Downtown Association is offering $25,000 to help attract new restaurants and other businesses into vacant commercial spaces. Officials say the effort is part of a larger push to revitalize downtown alongside storefront upgrades and zoning changes meant to encourage more investment. The FAA says a tool first developed for Alaska is continuing to improve flight safety. The agency is adding more weather cameras and visual weather systems that let pilots check conditions before they ever get into the cockpit. That matters in a state where remote flying is a way of life. The weather camera program began in Alaska in 1999, and one analysis found aviation accidents here dropped 85% over 7 years after cameras were installed. The FAA is installing 64 new weather cameras across the country by the end of 2028. Still ahead on the Morning Edition, it's a really cool title to be known as America's favorite teacher, but it's not just a title. It comes with a whole lot more, and one of Alaska's own needs your help to get there and bring a bonus to her school and students. We'll tell you how you can help after this.
And heavy rainfall set to build into South Central over the next couple of days. I'll have more on that as that storm sweeps across the state. First, at sunrise, 6:16 in Anchorage, 5:26 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in. 15 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday morning. You can see that cloud cover there. But it was so nice to see a little bit of sunshine yesterday, Aaron.
Yeah, yesterday was certainly a beautiful day to get outdoors. The rest of this week, unfortunately, is going to lead to those cloudier conditions, much like you're seeing this morning. And we are holding on to some of that unsettled weather that's going to keep some rain around. Waking up this morning to 7 degrees in Fairbanks, 17 below in Dead Horse, 2 below in Kotzebue. So we're still seeing many areas of the state with some cold conditions, but we're beginning to see that push of warmer air out towards southwest Alaska. That's going to eventually lift through the interior as well as the slope here over the next couple of days, driving in some of the warmest conditions we've seen so far this season. Now, when it comes to the rainfall, we're still holding on to that area of low pressure anchored out towards Adak Island. We're still seeing some gusty winds, rain that's impacting the Aleutians. And then as you head out towards southwest Alaska, this is where we've got that rain-snow mix. That transition is already underway, and we are expected to see a possible glaze of ice for areas of southwest Alaska where we do have that winter weather advisory, and that's where we're going to continue to watch that potential here over the next couple of hours. It's really just going to be during that time period when that transition does take place. Now, the blizzard warning, that is for 1 to 8 inches of snow with gusts to 55 miles per hour. Lower snowfall totals as you head north. So from Seward Peninsula north towards the Kotzebue Sound, you're only going to see about 1 to 5 inches, while areas south as you head south of the Seward Peninsula will see up to about 8 inches. And then there is that winter weather advisory. You can see snow and rain up to 1 inches of additional snow with a light glaze of ice to be expected. So that area of low pressure still anchored through the Aleutians as it continues to build into the Bering Sea. You can see a colder air wrapping around that area of low pressure. So as you head west of Adak out towards Shemya, likely seeing more in the way of some snow showers and some gusty winds with that system. But it is going to continue to build off towards the northeast, pushing into southwest Alaska, western Alaska, and eventually driving in some of that heavier rainfall across south central. And as the leading edge of that snow continues to build off towards the north, it is going to drive in some warmer conditions. So while we're waking up to single-digit lows in the interior, you're going to see highs within the next 48 hours climbing into the upper 40s and the lower 50s. Of course, as we close out this week, you can see persistent ongoing rain showers will stay with South Central. We're talking about heavy activity for coastal areas where we could see several inches. It will be a lot drier for inland locations like we typically see, but we'll still see our fair share of rain showers sticking around from today through the end of this week. So we are going to be watching for that, as well as some gusty winds. Of course, the strongest winds with this system will remain out over the open waters of the Bering Sea, where we could see some rough seas, and then those winds up to 55 miles per hour as you head into western Alaska, where we'll see those blizzard conditions. Not as strong with winds across south central. That is some good news, but we will still see some gusts of about 20 to 30 miles per hour. I'll have that for you coming up when we're talking about more with that rainfall amounts for south central. But for today, you can see those temperatures warming into the 40s. We'll keep some showers around as we head throughout the day. We'll keep that active weather with us to close out the week. Daily highs in the mid to upper 40s. Faring a bit drier on the weekend, but we still could be dodging some showery weather as we welcome in your Saturday.
All right, thanks, Aaron. She teaches, coaches, and now she's one round away from moving deeper into a national contest. This morning, we meet Houston High's Natalie Lervog, and as Jace Bertrand reports, she says a win could mean real help for her students.
When I was growing up, I found, especially with math, that I understood it all really well, and I just found a lot of joy in helping my classmates around me and helping them understand, maybe putting it into smaller words and stuff like that.
That joy would eventually bring Natalie Lervog to Houston High School.
I joined the Army, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do, but I ended up going back into wanting to teach and ended up teaching medical classes.
Only her second year as a teacher, Lervog says she's also a track and cheer coach at the school, which only has a student body of around 300. After seeing advertisements on Facebook, Lervog decided to throw her name into the America's Favorite Teacher competition, which requires people to vote online to help their teachers advance to the next round.
There's different rounds every week, and it ends Thursday every week. And so within my group, there were 75, and I had to be top 20 in the first round, and then top 15, top 10, and top 5. So I just finished the round to be top 5 in my group.
Now, Lervog says she needs enough votes to be named the favorite teacher in her group before entering the quarterfinals. If she wins the competition, Lervog will win a trip to Hawaii, an article in Reader's Digest, and a $25,000 cash prize, which she plans to donate directly to her school.
With budget cuts all around the state right now, everything's been really tight. I just feel like I can get something for all the sports and something for all the classes here at the school.
Lervog says she hopes winning the competition will bring more attention to the last frontier. Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
More information on how to vote for Lervog can be found on our website and mobile app.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.